Well, it's the end of the regular season. And what happens at the end of the regular season? The developing trend of managers getting fired. Now, Friday on Foul Territory, Scott Braun posed a question to me. He said, all right, I'm going to set the over-under for managers getting fired at 1.5. Ken, what will it be, over or under? Easy answer, over. And I felt it was easy because there were so many situations that were in play. Well, sure enough, by the end of the weekend, we hit the over. And we still might get a few more. You never know in this day and age with baseball, because once these things get started, sometimes they're hard to stop. Now, the first managerial firing was Gabe Kapler. The second was Buck Showalter with the New York Mets. The Giants, the Mets, those two teams obviously had disappointing seasons. But these situations were quite different, and I want to go into each in a little bit of depth. Let's start with Kapler, because he was presumed safe maybe a few weeks ago when Giants chairman Greg Johnson came out publicly and said that both Kapler and president of baseball operations Farhan Zaidi would be safe, would return next season. Well, what changed? What changed was the noise around this team, kind of driven by fans, but also by media, grew as this team kind of fell apart. And the noise within the organization grew as well. You saw criticisms from Logan Webb and Mike Yastrzemski, two of the Giants' most respected players, about the team's clubhouse culture, about kind of the way they went about it. Now, nobody was saying directly that Kapler had lost the clubhouse. It was almost more that he didn't have the clubhouse. And it's a different kind of situation. He didn't really police the players. These guys kind of were on their own, and it fell apart. And that's what Logan Webb was talking about. That's what Mike Yastrzemski was talking about. On August 3rd, the Giants were 61 and 49. 61 and 49. Held the top wild card. They go 18 and 34 the rest of the way. They finished the season in their final 34 road games. Last 34 road games, 6 and 28. You put it all together, and it was just too much. Now, what's interesting here to me, and what I wrote about last week, if you want to go back to that column in The Athletic, was that you can blame Kapler, and certainly a managerial change here, you can say it's warranted. That's fine. But really, the issue is Farhan Zaidi. And the issue is the way he put together this team, a team that is kind of faceless on the position player side. They've got Logan Webb, obviously, to lead the pitching staff. He's a Cy Young contender, one of the best pitchers in the game. But they do a lot of platooning, a lot of pinch hitting. It's kind of a tough team for fans to identify with. And it can be hard to watch as well. Not a great defensive club or anything like that. Now, Zaidi has done some really good things there. There's no question about it. But they have not gotten the player to replace Buster Posey as their franchise guy. They kind of lack an identity. Now, it's not for lack of effort. Remember, they tried to sign Aaron Judge last offseason. He went to the Yankees. And then they tried to sign Carlos Correa. And, of course, they had the medical issue, which the Mets later had the same problem with. So they were trying. But now you've got a situation where free agents, it's tough to get them to come to San Francisco for whatever reason, whether it's state taxes, whether it's players not liking the politics of California, whatever it might be. They've had a hard time doing that. Giancarlo Stanton, a few years back, rejected a trade to the Giants. Also rejected a trade to the Cardinals at that time. So if free agency is not going to be the way you can build your club and get that franchise guy back or the impact guy you want, well, then you're going to have to do some things outside your comfort level, make some trades, trade some of your prospects for better players. Now the heat is on Zaidi. There's no question about it. When you fire the manager, well, then the focus comes back to the head of baseball operations. And in this case, that's Farhan. So we'll see what happens in San Francisco. We'll see what kind of offseason they have. Because right now, the pressure on him entering the final year of his contract has never been greater.